Hello and welcome to the Victory Podcast. And today we have Anthony Cosby, who his story is fascinating because he spent many years in the Navy and now is the founder and CEO of a very successful business. And so, welcome to the show, Victory Podcast. Anthony, thanks so much for joining us here today. We just are thrilled to have you. We want to learn some of those lessons that you've learned over your career in service, but now as an entrepreneur and out in the business world. Welcome to the show.
Amy, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm definitely delighted today and look forward to our conversation and hopefully it'll inspire a few folks.
Well, definitely. You gave me some of your notes, but let's get into it. Let's talk about, tell me a little bit about your background and, where you're from. And you talked about your Navy service. So tell us a little bit about your career there.
Sure. So, again, Anthony Cosby. I'm from Tanner, Alabama, small town in North Alabama, about 20 miles west of the Redstone. Folks are familiar with that Army base. But grew up there and wanted to have a successful life doing something, really didn't know what, but being in sports and doing baseball, football, basketball throughout high school, and just really loved my childhood and just loved growing up in North Alabama. And I grew up watching combat a lot. So it's an old black show, and I was like, all right, I know I'm going to go into the Army. I know the Army is going to be where I'm going. Enough, I had a 1:00 on a Wednesday meeting with the recruiter. I was 17 years old, and I had just finished up high school, graduated, and I was ready to go. I was ready to leave Alabama and go seek the world. And when I went to the recruiting station, the wasn't there, and so the Navy guy came out eating a yogurt. Never had yogurt before in my life. I had ice cream, of course, but a lot of times our ice cream my grandma had, and you had to churn. If you didn't churn, you didn't get any. But that's what. He said, "Hey, you want to come on in?" They're not coming back. So I had to call my dad. Had left, and we live in the country, so that meant I had to wait for my dad to get back home. I didn't call him, and then it was going to be about an hour, 2 hours before my dad came back. So I went into the Navy, and he's eating his cone. He said, "Hey, you want some yogurt?" I never said, "Sure." They had a yogurt machine in the recruiting office. So I grabbed my yogurt, and as I'm eating my yogurt, the Navy recruiter said, "Hey, just so you know, in the Navy, we could sleep in a bed every night." I had never thought about that. All my dreams of being in the Army went away. And then I think after that, I said, "Go Navy." So I went into the Navy at 17, career, prior enlisted. After prior enlisted, was able to Auburn University NROTC, get my commission through the enlisted commissioning program. And then after that, was able to go to my first ship, USS Curtis Wilkie, brand new out of Pascagoula, Mississippi, and then went over to Yokosuka, Japan. Once we started Operation Enduring Freedom, so was over there in 2000 on the Curtis Wilbur DDG 54, and then after that, Naval Academy, was there for 3 years, had a wonderful time. And then I ended my tour, Navy Recruiting District San Antonio, where I helped lead the recruiting district there. Last duty station was the Navy Recruiting District Orientation Unit, Norwood, Pensacola, Florida. Was there for a year before I retired. So, that was 21 years and had an amazing time. But I think for me, truly that year spent being in recruiting and understanding people, understanding how to talk, understanding how to look at people in the eye to see them wanting something out of life, and how the military can be an access point to that. You stay in 4 years, 20 or 30 years, it's definitely something to be a veteran, to be a military service member. And I think for me, that's going to always been. And as I transitioned out, I took a job at the University of San Antonio, and that's when I knew that career coaching was a calling for me. I was very good in recruiting. I was the number one recruiter for the back in 2009, and for me, talk came natural. Now I'm an introvert by nature. I'm a heavy introvert. I can play golf all myself and be happy as a clam. But when it's time to talk, to look at folks and really help them push forward in life, the things that I truly, truly love. So for me, it's been really good to the coaching world. And then after University of Texas, San Antonio, did a university, and then follow that with Syracuse University Institute of Military Family, which is now the Daniello Institute for Veterans and Military Families. It's been life-changing, helping so many people since coming on board IVMF across the globe, essentially, with our program of services that I'm about here a little bit. But and then I started my business. I'm an entrepreneur now. The STZY Socks. We've been going strong for about 16 months, and we're just on stride. So it's definitely something that's pretty. It's been, and I look forward to that next stint of what we're getting ready to do in the company, but still also getting ready to start up the STZY Foundation, also still working with veterans and military families across the globe.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your service. We love to talk about how veterans can translate their skills that they learn in the military and become successful entrepreneurs or successful business leaders. And in this podcast, the Victory Podcast, we want to get your secrets, your tips, your helpful hints, and what's worked for you. Now, you mentioned that you transitioned and worked with the within the veteran network. And what inspired you to really start your business with the socks? Tell us how that came to be, because that's fascinating. I mean, tremendous success so far, and we're going to show folks how to reach out to you and check out all your social media. But how did you get into the sock business?
Yeah, so for me, so I went through the entrepreneurship veterans at Texas A&M, and that was in 2019. And I knew I wanted a business, start something. I found out about EBV 2012 when I retired. It was through a 60 Minutes, and I saw our director and vice chancellor, Dr. Mike Haney, talking about EBV, and I said, man, I want to do that. And lo and behold, some 7 years later, I'm working for the man at university, and went through the program and got laser focused on my company. So I started an apparel company. I just wanted to do a drop shipping company. I didn't want to have any, just wanted something easy where maybe I can turn into a six-figure drop ship, just have a little vacation money or whatever. And so when I started it, what happened? COVID hit. And when COVID hit, it truly just paralyzed me. And the feeling that I had when all of the fulfillment centers, it just made me feel like, wow, if I had something with inventory, at least I can still send it out, So that's when I went back to the drawing board and was able to get very cool and very intelligent young men who had built e-commerce businesses. We chatted. I told them what I was thinking about, because when I was selling with my first company, socks was one of the big sellers. And I said, I think there's, an avenue for socks, but I also think there's an avenue for athletic socks. It's a cotton count, which we don't see too much anymore with some of your name brands. So it took us 8 months to get to market. And once we got to market in March of 2021, so really a COVID company, once we got to market in March 21, on the 21st of March, and 40 days later, sold out. Not in my wildest, I thought it'll take us 6 months to get sold out. I think I purchased about 8, and I said, let's take us 6 months to get sold out. 40 days, sold out. We knew that we had something. And as an entrepreneur, one of the things I wanted to do with that small was to say, okay, if I'm going to start self-funding this which is what a lot of entrepreneurs, when they first start, let me not go down that rabbit hole and spend my resources, and it's not something that's going to be fruitful in the end. So for me, that test really showed me, okay, we really got something here. And then we started looking at the mission of STZY, because really one of the things I wanted to give back. That's in my nature. That's my calling. That's my purpose in life, somehow, some way. But since it was an athletic company, one of the things I've always liked to do, keep things branded together. So I said, you know what? When I was growing up, what I wanted to do was go to Atlanta Braves baseball camp when I was 12 years old. And my dad and my mom sold insurance, and really they just didn't have the resources to swing it, right? And I always believe if I had went to that baseball camp, in my mind, I like the pros or made it to college playing baseball or something. I was a good athlete, but I knew some mental toughness. I needed to see it. I needed to see those professionals. I need to touch those professionals and see what they're doing and see how they did it. And opportunity, which is fine. But one of the things when we launched, I want our mission to be to help young athletes in need, those dreams and aspirations. And so with that, I pushed forward to B Corp pending, and we were able to get that in less than 60 days. So, which is so we got that B Corp pending so we can operate under that B Corp pending umbrella. With that, we were able to attract numerous athletes was reaching out to us saying, hey, we love your marketing, we love your brand, we will see how we can work together. And typically I would, send the athlete socks index. And next thing you know, we have some of the biggest players in wearing STZY socks. And I was like, this is so cool.
That's fantastic. So you've translated some of what you learned after your military career and just sort of rode that wave until the crash of COVID, but you adjusted. Tell us, what does STZY, what is that, an acronym, or is that a special name you came up with?
Yeah, so our company truly started base, and one of our favorite verses is in Isaiah 40, chapter 40, be not faint. And for us, when you hear that, we think about just having to understand and wait on the Lord to give you what. And with STZY, my creative director actually called me one night and said, bro, God just told me to name the company STZY and put a line, because we were going to name it Step Weaver. That was the name. We were going to name it Step Weaver, and everything to go with Step Weaver. And next thing you know, he said that. But when he said, hey, God said, name it STZY, put a line through it, I like, done. Let's do it. We did that, and goodness, so many people, even when I was in Chicago, just getting compliments on the logo, the STZY, and it's just cool.
It is definitely trendy. It's bespoke, it's original. So congratulations with that, and trusting your team and trusting your instincts for that. Now, if we want to get some of your tips, what would be your top 3 tips for balancing this crazy entrepreneur life? And we see you traveling and you're using influencers and social media. What would be the top 3 things that you would share with our audience to help them either get inspired to run their own business or take that leap of faith? What has been the 3 top things that you would recommend?
Yeah, and so the 3 things that I like, I learned from Matthew Griffin, the CEO of Combat Flip Flops. Got a deal with Mark Cuban from the Shark Tank, and when I heard him speak back in 2018, it was just life changing. And we still stay in touch. And I use what he does. And one is when you wake up, give grace and thanks, because without your health, without waking up, you can't even be an entrepreneur. So give grace. And then the next thing is work your body, right? In the military, that's something we do. You were a Marine, you're in the Navy now. Working out is a part of life, right? Once we get out, sometimes folks don't look at it as a part of life. So for me, I think that work your body within my life. So every morning I get up at 4:30, do my three. My back is pretty shot with chronic back pain, but I do my 3 walk. I'm getting it out there in the morning, but I'm getting to work the body. But while I'm working, I'm able to visualize my future. I'm able to think about what's next, what we need to do with the company, and to position ourselves to push forward and be one of the top athletes in America and in the world. And then with that, you take all that and then you plan. And if you don't have a plan in place, if you're not writing something because it's going to be a living, breathing plan, even sometimes when you create a new website or create a new site, sometimes you may have to change it if traction isn't coming the way that but it was part of your plan. And that's one thing that veterans and military spouses know how to do is we know how to formulate a plan, because from the levels of E1 full flag, we all know how to execute. And that is in us from boot camp, officer candidate school, NROTC, the service academies, we execute. So for me, that third one is probably one of the most, but the other two really feed into it, because for me, it's a holistic view of life. You just can't go and think that one, you're keep up. And then I truly believe when you're not giving thanks for the victories that you're winning, or giving thanks for being in your right mind when you wake up, just giving thanks for being able to help somebody else reach their goals, dreams, and aspirations. And what are we here for? And one of the big things we say with STZY is product equals purpose. The product of the sock will transition to the purpose, and those young athletes reach their goals, dreams, and aspirations. And for me, it just goes hand in hand with each other, but it goes hand in hand with the life that I live for.
Wonderful. That's some great tips there for people trying to define their new business that they're thinking of, or thinking through their success and strategy plan. Now, if you look forward into what you could craft for the next 12 months, what are some things that you're working on for the next 12 months to take you to where you want to be?
Yeah, so first one is definitely fundraising. You have to raise to do this work, especially if you want to scale. So we're in the process seed round. So once we get our seed round going, that'll give us the capital to truly scale, to ensure, because we've sold out 4 times. That's the other crazy thing. Every that we ordered enough, we sell out. And I just keep scratching my head, this next pre-order that we're doing right now, we're thousands of units this time. So I'm like, all right, if we say it's a good thing, everybody like, oh, that's so great you sold out. Like, I like stuff being on people come, they can get it. But, for me, raising that capital is going to help that issue, where we can continue to evolve and create new products. My COO, Josh Riblin, is great when it comes to new products and just pushing that envelope a little further. And people say it's just socks. When you hear people after they wear the socks, you're like, oh my God, these are like the most comfortable socks I've ever. And that's what I love hearing. And so for me, raising the capital in that seed round, and then after that, we'll go into a Series A round. And then the next, we're going to launch our STZY Foundation, So as I mentioned before, we perform B Corp. So for us, that was for 12 months. We wanted to make sure that we were governed in a way to where we can hold ourselves accountable. So now what we're going to do is push to start the STZY Foundation this fall. STZY Foundation, we're going to have some amazing opportunities to have 4 different pillars with the foundation. One of the pillars is, of course, going to be funding youth organizations across the country. Another pillar is funding performance coaches and partnering with performance coaches that can help those that might need a little help across the country. Additionally, we want to work building relationships, and this is something that's going to be outside of the 12 months. We want to start building relationships with cotton farmers and throughout. I grew up in rural Alabama. I worked on a cotton farm for about 4 summers before I went off to the Navy. And one of the things that I dream about is having our own mill, having a location where we make our socks here in the United States. And with that, cotton from farmers in Nebraska, farmers in Texas, farmers in Alabama and Georgia. As we're building those relationships with these farmers that we're getting this cotton from, be able to position the STZY Foundation to help those youth in those communities where those cotton farmers are, because cotton farmers kids play football, basketball, tennis, soccer, volleyball. So those are some of the things I want to do. Once we launch the STZY Foundation, it's definitely going to be something transformative of the brand, because as STZY grow, and again, it was purpose, right? So STZY is the product, our amazing and comfortable, and then the STZY Foundation is going to satisfy that purpose and truly help us be that force for good as we continue to do this. My daughter, she's an elite tennis player. She's 10 years old. She wants to be on Wimbledon team, and really, she was our first STZY athlete. And for me, when she made the decision that she wanted to do this, and really decision at 4 or 5 years old, she told me, and since then we've been working. And even like this summer, just to see her from June to 10 to 4 in the Texas heat with through sophomores in college. Those are the folks that she was with this summer as a 10-year-old and winning. And for me, when I look at that, what if my daughter can do it because we've been able to pour the love, the support, that's what I want to do for so many other people across the country, because I just truly believe that sometimes you just need to say, here, I'm proud of you. Some kids might need a little push, So for us to be able to help provide that is going to be amazing. And then, of course, is helping military children that are aspiring to be athletes. One thing I realize is that we move so all military, and just say if you have an elite athlete as a child, say they're they're elite basketball player, and the family has to up and move. They go to Texas, and so you're trying to figure out, all right, how I'm gonna here in Texas. Well, our goal is with those type of individuals, STZY Foundation, where we can help you plug into that aspect in a San Antonio. Maybe help plug into with some of the Spurs players, mentorships with some of the college players, and them reach their goals, dreams, and aspirations that way. But we always want to make it back to that special, because I always think that with military children, they're special kids because they know how to handle a lot early in life, and I think being able to assist with that, and being able to Shaquille O'Neal, if you will, whose dad was a sergeant major, and those folks just continue to grind it out. To me, I'm like, all right, these are something so amazing with the STZY Foundation. And I think as we do the seed round and just continue to work with our amazing influencers, our professional athletes across the country. And then I think the last little secret that we're going to do is we're looking at opening up a STZY metaverse store. So that's going to be pretty interesting in 2023 when we open up our STZY metaverse. Folks can purchase STZY on the metaverse.
Okay, well, lots of big dreams and vision and goals for you. We're so excited to see your success. But if you could look back, and you've had such an amazing Navy career, really just things that we all aspire to for success, right? Just climbing to the reaching your own maximum potential, starting as an enlisted and becoming an officer, and then a successful retirement and career after the military. So for someone who might be in the military right now and they're looking at their options for transitioning, whether they've served 4 years or 12 years or full 20, eligible for retirement, what would you tell them right now about your tips for finishing strong and then transitioning into something else where your purpose and your passion can come together?
Oh, certainly. I love this subject. So the advice I would give folks that are transition out, even if you're not out, one of the things I recommend for you to do is to start building your network in the military. We love our military sisters and brothers with all but as we look closer to that day that we all have off the uniform, start building those, whether it's corporate, you can build it through corporate folks, or you can build it through higher education, or you can build it through non-profits, right? But LinkedIn is such an amazing tool to be able to do that. But also organizations, there's a ton of sea of goodwill out there, but reach out to organizations that are on ensuring that veterans and military families are successful military service. So for me, with the Institute for Veterans, their families at Syracuse University, that's our mission, right? So for me, that is the big thing, because once you transition out, still thinking the folks that are in is going to help you, well, they have to take care. So just start creating those relationships with folks. And it could be folks that had never, start creating relationships with folks like that. America Corporate. So those are some of the places I would tell folks to go. And then I think are deciding what that next step is, do a real audit of what you think you might want to do. And sometimes that might just using one locations to do an assessment. I know we do in the Institute for Veterans Military Families, but there are numerous organizations that will help you do assessment to see whether it's a Myers-Briggs, but do assessments is going to attract and what you want to do with that next career move. And I think just embracing it, right? Because when you embrace something different than doing it in a begrudging manner where I don't want to go, we all have to take it off. But the one thing I realized now, after being retired for 10 years, I would have loved Admiral Cosby, but then I started thinking, well, I could be one day, I don't have to go there. So some folks can look at what entrepreneurship might be that route. It might be able to be a way for me to my purpose and my passion of what I want to do. Or even if it's working corporation, but find those entities and find those folks that you can believe in and trust and help navigate it. And it can be something as simple as 1 hour a month or 1 hour talking to folks and just doing check-ins. you will be amazed how much some people just want to be able to help. Last thing I would say, sometimes you just gotta ask for help. But you gotta be bold enough to say, hey, I want you to be my mentor. I need help. I need help. I have been applying for different positions. I need help. And that's okay. Because a lot of times folks that hear that, we just go into, damage control mode, if you will, a term that we use on the ship. We're just going to damage. All right, let's get it. And then the folks that you created those relationships start going to work for you. So you be successful in that next step, in that next chapter of your life.
Wonderful tips of advice, Anthony. It's been a real pleasure talking with you today, and people can find you on your social media and your website. It looks amazing. So we wish you all the best and success in the future. We'll be looking for you. We love these veteran-owned entrepreneurs and businesses, and taking everything you've learned in the military, especially, and then what you learned with Dr. Mike Haney, right? And then all the other folks up there. And now you're just really leading from the front, and people can look to you as just a model and kind of follow in your footsteps for all those lessons learned, especially during COVID. And tell us, where would you like people to go? What's the best, what's your website? And of course, you're on Instagram, but how can people find you?
Yeah, I would say, first and foremost, the www.STZYSocks.com, STZYSocks.com. But with that, I want to say, Amy, thank you so much for all that you do. I'm so glad that Brian connected us together. These podcasts that you're doing, I'm telling you, you are feeding folks with and sometimes we don't know what people need, but as a public affairs officer, my wife worked public affairs for Homeland Security, ICE, and she said, you gotta have you. And I tell you, I just love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, and keep veterans and military families. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to be here today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Super great to learn your story, and I know it will be inspiring to others. If we just reach one person, we've done what we can to help veterans out there and others looking to follow in your footsteps, and wishing you all the best. So thank you so much, and we'll catch you on social media and follow your success story.